Good morning.
Good morning, brother.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling great.
So we had a nice little party last night with the boys.
Yes, sir.
Shout out to everyone that is a part of the OG Sessions Podcast Fantasy Football League.
Shout out to them. Y'all going down.
Yeah. Throughout the season, obviously, we get a little wild in these intros, talking shit about all the boys that are in the league. But regardless, those are our fucking brothers, man.
Yes,
that league is turning into
a brotherhood.
I mean, it is for sure,
Yeah.
but it's turning into like there is a it's like a family now, bro.
Yeah.
Like I love how whenever you start a fantasy league, I mean, this is the first one I've ever like been the commissioner of, but I've been a part of so many leagues throughout the years, probably at least like 10 or 12. And I know this is your second year ever playing fantasy. But I've been playing fantasy since, probably since I was in middle school, man, just with friends and, people at work, work's always start a fantasy league. And I know you don't really always like know everyone in the league because either they don't do like a draft party or a ceremony at the end of the season and I know for me, like when I first started this league, I knew a lot of the guys wouldn't know each other because it was like the OG Sessions podcast, like fantasy league. So it was like I wanted to have cool guests that have been on the show, but then also like guests that we've been like good friends with after the episodes and stuff as well. And kind of handpicking the guys that were going to be in the league is like you want to be strategic. You want to have people that are going to mesh well with the whole group since we are linking up like twice a season at least to do these, events. But no, dude, I'm so glad with the people that we have in this league, you know. Shout out to all the boys. You guys already, you know who you are. And also the Fantasy League Draft Party recap is available now on YouTube.
Yes, sir.
So if any of you guys want to see that episode, it's not super long, but it's just kind of like gives everybody an opportunity to kind of talk shit.
A little vision.
Because we do have a group chat. For the people that don't know, there is a group chat, and it gets a little heated in there at times.
What's the group chat name? Let's hear it. You have to.
I'll let you say it, Joey.
Okay, so the group chat name, I'll give you the story first. We had this one guy. Should I name drop?
I mean,
Kyle.
it's in the fucking
we had this guy
name.
Kyle, and we obviously there's a loser punishment if you're last in the league, and he did not perform his loser punishment, so we changed the group name to Honk if Kyle sucks cock, and we kicked him out of the league, so he can't even see that anymore. But
what is the loser punishment, or
you
what
have to
was
stand on the side of the road? Is it like one of the busiest intersections in Jacksonville, holding a sign that says "Honk if I suck at fantasy football"?
Yeah, it's simple. It's simple. It's like a hour long. You just have to sit on the side of the road. We'll stand on the side of the road, hold your sign. And granted, like we were all kind of talking shit. The storyline for the fantasy league and the group chat was really like, I'm not holding that fucking sign. That's pretty much what everyone was saying all year in the group chat. And it turned into this thing where it was like most people were playing obviously to win, but more people were playing
not to be last.
Yeah, not to be last because no one wanted to hold the sign. That Joey Allen.
Me, I was fighting hard for like 3/4 of the season not to be last.
And it got intense, man. Last maybe 3-4 weeks of the season, you had a lot of guys starting to take some L's and they were dropping in the leaderboard. And then you had some trades that were made. I know you started to shoot up a little bit when there was honestly, you were dead last for the longest time in that league. And then you made some good trades. And then before you know it, you're catching wins.
I was ruining people's seasons.
And you were. And you had other guys that needed to lose and they were losing. And so you were starting to work your way up a little bit. But pretty much like the end of the year, I knew that there was going to be a pretty good chance that you could be holding that sign. And I knew for a fact if you lost that league, you were going to hold that motherfucking sign.
But I knew for a fact I was not going to lose the league.
Yeah.
Okay. There was probably 9 games in a row where I was like, damn, I might lose this league.
Yeah.
But I did lose.
You had the longest losing streak that I had ever seen in fantasy football history. I've never seen a guy lose as many games. But I mean, maybe I've seen it before, but it's because they kind of stopped playing.
But talk about my scoring though, because I was 130 plus every game.
You had good scores. You were just getting people that were playing you were having good weeks.
I know.
And I will say this, you would have held that sign. And that was kind of the storyline all season. So when, the day of the ceremony came around when Kyle was supposed to hold the sign and he basically called me and said, look, I'm not holding that sign. It did kind of hit differently, not just with me, but pretty much all the members of the league. And it was pretty much I don't think there was any real decision or conversation that had to be had there with the boys where it was yeah, we got to kick this guy out.
That boy got booted.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So go ahead. What's the name of the fantasy football group
I already
chat?
said it, but I'll say it again.
Yeah, I know you want to say it. Get that shit off your chest.
Honk if Kyle sucks cock. You need a horn button.
Yeah, we do.
Sorry, Kyle. It's all love.
No, it really is all love, man. In the end of the day, like, he was a guest on this podcast. He's obviously, a great dude. He's doing really cool things too. But I think when it comes to fantasy football, like, we're looking for dudes that are just dogs. Loyal.
Committed.
100% brotherhood, like you said in the beginning. But no, this is a great episode this week, man. Episode 106 going down. Super excited about today's guest. Like, it's funny because I've seen him work with so many other people that are in the community, and also honestly just guys we've had on this podcast as well.
And this was our giveaway winner.
This was our giveaway winner. Okay, so yeah, we did a free episode giveaway. We like to do that once a season just to kind of let the audience, have an opportunity to kind of choose one of the guests that'll be on the podcast. So the audience, they all, if you're following us on social media, you guys have the opportunity to like submit names, and me and Joey draw out of a hat and see who the name was picked. And honestly, when we're writing down the names, there is a couple guys where I'm like hoping.
I hope it's this guy.
Yeah, just because, and even if they don't win the giveaway, then usually we'll like send them a message afterwards and we'll be like, okay, obviously our audience wants to see this guy on the podcast. But no, dude, honestly, Malcolm is one of those guys where I've just seen him work with so many
It's a cool way to learn a lot of new like artists and entrepreneurs in the city too.
Oh, for sure.
Because there's so many. Like, it's such a huge city, and yes, we've talked to a lot of them, but it's so big.
Sometimes I feel like some people get frustrated, like out of the audience, they'll get frustrated because there's like certain guys where they're like, how have you not had this guy on the podcast? But I don't think people realize how many dogs are in the city. Like, where it's just like so many people just kind of not even just creating their own lane for themselves, but they're just heavy hitters in whatever industry that they're, a part of. And also, me and Joey, you guys have to take into consideration that me and Joey only have guests on this podcast that we genuinely want to talk to. Mm-hmm. We've learned the hard way that the conversation is better whenever me and you are truly interested in that guest. And this week's guest is no exception, man. This is one of those guys where, he's just got, a grip on this city. Yeah. And I'm excited for today's episode, man. Let's jump into Win of the Week. Let's knock that out. Win of the Week, episode 106 going down right now.
I think you first this time, brother.
Want me to start us off?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, I got this, man. So my win of the week, it's simple, but it's something I just been loving lately, man.
Okay. Oh.
And I'm going to name drop on this one as well. Hard pressed burgers.
Okay.
I have been. And it's funny because like we don't like the studio isn't very close to where they usually pop up at, which is like Ink Factory. But if if you're in the Jacksonville area, I'm a big smash burger guy right now. I've just been craving it. I'm like obsessed with the smash burger thing. For me, I'm not a huge fan of like a super like thick patty, like where it's like the fucking, half pound
you
burgers
like the crispy
and stuff.
edges.
I like the crispy edges. If you have good cheese with it, obviously they do something. I think they got to have their bread like local or something.
And there's like a sauce that they put on there.
Yes, it's so good. And then their fries, if you get like loaded fries, it's like they got the aioli, the jalapenos.
Well, I'm hungry.
I know. No, but shout out Hard Press Burgers, man. I've been going up there like, every couple weekends, for the past couple months, and it's just been, I keep meeting them to make them my win of the week because when I'm sitting there, there's been so many times, bro, where I'll go back and get another burger. Yeah. Like I'll kill a burger, fries, and a drink or whatever, and then I'll go back and get another burger because it's so fucking good, man.
Little side shout out to yours is the energy drink they got over there.
Oh, that's right. Fucking A.
I just like the name. It tastes good too, but I love saying, hey, you want some of my fucking A?
Yeah.
It's like FOCNA or something.
Yeah, and so what it stands for is like focus and adrenaline, I guess. But it actually does work too. So shout out to them. Like anytime I drink it, I really don't need a Red Bull for the rest of the day or anything, man. They got me dialed. Boy's been surfing a lot lately, so I've definitely been on that fucking A, dude.
Fucking A, man.
Fucking A, man. It's been good, man. So no, that's just keeping it simple this week. Hard pressed burgers. If you guys haven't had them yet, check them out. Little shout out, no free shout out. We don't like doing, a ton of those on this podcast.
That's what win of the week is for.
That's what win of the week is for, brother. So,
and my win of the week is actually a place this time, and it's in Florida. It's local, but it's the Florida Keys, man. I had that trip back a couple weeks ago, and the Florida Keys is just a magical place.
You love the Florida Keys, brother.
Fuck yeah. How could you not? I love water. I love like that whole environment. The music they listen to is just, I love being out there.
That's solid, man.
I feel like you don't like that. You're such an asshole. He said, fuck it. I'm going to make my win of the week is the fishing trip that I did yesterday.
Oh,
and I caught
fucking God.
32 fish.
Here's the thing, bro, is your win of the weeks are always, it's either like.
Hold on, wait, start over. What did you say? Your win of the week. It's my win of the week. I can make it whatever the fuck. If I want to make it ketchup. Yeah. Well, I love ketchup. on my mac and cheese.
Really?
No, but
Oh my god, I was gonna say that's fucking foul
okay. But
play.
one time I put barbecue sauce on the white mac and cheese.
Oh, that'd be fire.
shit's kinda
That would
gas.
actually be fire.
I'll make that my win.
No,
of the week.
okay, yeah, make that your win of the week. It's barbecue sauce on white mac and cheese.
Yeah,
That's good.
it's just gas.
That's actually a good win of the week. And we're both, if you can't tell, we're starving.
I'm so hungry.
No, but it's. I was just giving you the face because it's like I know a couple weeks ago when you went on that Keys trip, we spent our entire intro talking about your fucking Keys trip.
I wanted to run it back. I like the keys. Boy.
Okay, so you like, but was that a win of the week for this week?
No.
So there we go. There we fucking go, brother. So you want to go ahead and
Have
say,
you been to Smash Burger
it's my
this
win
week?
of the week. Yes, I did go to Smash Burgers this week, actually. And I'm pretty sure I invited you too, and you fucking capped.
No, you didn't.
So yeah, your win of the week. It is your win of the week, but it's got to be for this week.
Well, I haven't had.
Have you had barbecue mac and cheese?
No, I
Okay.
haven't had
All
that
right,
since
here
I
we
was
go.
10
Okay,
years
so
old.
so go ahead. New win of the week. Come on, fire one off right now.
My new win of the week.
Give us
is-
one good thing about your week.
Shit.
I can name a couple good things about your week.
I mean, there's always.
I need to help you?
Help me. Let's hear it. What did you like about my week?
I liked a couple things about your week. This week, you got a new truck at work.
Wow, that's a good one. Thank you, Nicholas.
Because you've been waiting on this for a while. I know that just like from the outside looking in, your boss has told you multiple times, like, hey,
times.
you're supposed to get a new truck at work. For everyone that doesn't know, Joey's a very, very dominant electrician.
Commercial
electrician.
Not
but-
residential.
Yeah, but he's a dog. I mean, you're the best electrician I've ever met, except for when it comes to fixing a microwave. We're not going to talk about it.
We're not talking about it.
And but no, your boss has been telling you for a while now you're supposed to be getting in your own truck.
And I got my own truck.
He finally got his own truck. So hey, shout out to you. That's a win. That's a good win.
Dang, I forgot about it. It's been a long week. You know,
Yeah,
a lot of things have happened. So
Is there anything new like at your work space that the truck has kind of contributed where it's been like different now that you have a truck?
I mean, I was driving my personal vehicle to all the jobs, so it's cool, like not having to do that. It's easier on my car.
Do they pay for your gas?
Yeah, they pay for gas. So that's another thing. It's kind of like a little pay raise. I ain't got to pay $100 every week in gas.
Yeah.
The speakers suck in the van. You know, I might put some subs in that bitch. That'd be cool. I wonder if that's like frowned upon.
What kind of truck is it, or is it a van?
It's a van. It's like a
Okay.
Nissan fucking Sprinter.
Oh,
It's got the side doors that open. It's cool.
Hey.
It's dope, but you know,
My boy needs some new tools. If there's any tools out there, like any tool companies that want to sponsor this,
Milwaukee,
Milwaukee, that would
we
be
don't
dope.
do no DeWalt.
So you're telling me if Ryobi hit our line right now and they want to sponsor this podcast, you wouldn't take him?
No.
Really?
If I walk on the job site with Ryobi tools, everybody would look at me sideways. Like Ryobi is like the household tool. Like no contractor or worker brings Ryobi. if
I
they
will
do.
say this, like I have used Ryobi tools and they work because it has been like little small projects and things like that, but I'm a Milwaukee guy through and through.
Yeah,
I
if you use a
love-
Ryobi like every single day drilling fucking screws, like I use my drill every day.
Yeah.
And it's a Milwaukee and that bitch has stood the time.
No, Milwaukee's the best, bro. That's one thing. If you're a man, you know. I mean, if you're a woman too, you might know. But if you're like a blue collar,
If you're
like,
into power
hardworking-
tools, you know Milwaukee
you
is the
know.
truth.
No, shout out to Milwaukee.
a little
bro.
expensive. Them
That'd be a
batteries.
dope sponsor for this podcast, bro.
Well,
We could
that'd be
start
so
off-
random.
We could do their sponsor, like their sponsor video, have like a drill in our hand. No, let's jump into this episode, man. Obviously, super excited for this one. Incredible guest. I know all of you guys are going to enjoy it. So, yeah, let's get it done.
Let's do it.
What up, OGs? We are here. Episode 106 going down. I'm here with my brother, Joey Allen.
Yes, sir.
Excited for today's episode, man.
it's a good one.
This is a good one. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for the man himself. Some of y'all know him as a photographer. Others know him as the mayor of Jacksonville.
Talk to him.
The man himself, Malcolm Jackson.
What's happening, y'all?
How you doing, brother?
I'm good, man.
Love the LaFave hat.
Hey, man, it's been a tradition on the pod. I got to keep it going. You know what I'm saying?
I love it. Yeah, Mia had that on last week. So many guests we come on, they'll have the LaFave on. And Joey's wearing it right now.
Yeah, Joey got it. Just realized that.
No, it's funny, man. Shout out Casey. He's obviously a dog in this community, but so are you, man. Super huge honor to have you on the pod. Seriously.
No, it's a big honor, for me, and I'm humbled to be here again, to be a part of this alumni that y'all have built up, and it's so crazy, like the other guests that you had, and I've looked up to them and been supportive of them, so it's kind of like, I like this, man. Like,
It's funny. So, you obviously you won the giveaway that we did for a free episode, but it was whenever we first posted that you had won, so many people slid my DMs and they're like, "Wait, you haven't had him on yet?"
Right.
And I was like, "Wait." I've seen your work all over the place and so many things, and I think sometimes, man, it's like people don't realize how many dogs there are in Jacksonville, like kind of like low key dogs,
Yeah.
and we've always we're trying to like reach out and like really check off like every box of people that we can have on the show, and then going through a lot of your work and a lot of the people that you've worked with, I was like, How haven't we had this man on the show, man? So I'm glad it all worked out. I guess just God works in mysterious ways, man.
Yeah, man, that was all part of the plan. We just stuck to it, keep on rolling. That's it.
I love it, man. So let's jump into your journey. Are you born and raised Jax?
Oh yeah, I'm probably the most Jacksonville person that you'll ever meet.
Duval, let's go.
Yeah, Memorial Hospital and all, man.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, 3 generations deep.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay, so growing up, did you already, like, were you always kind of into the photography thing? Were you, like, very, was that kind of your lane?
So it's an interesting journey. I got into photography through my uncle. He would teach me as a kid. He would do, like, weddings and stuff back in the 90s. I was a track guy. So I've been running tracks since I was, like, 4 years old. So that was more of my lane growing up. Mm-hmm. And, when you're a kid, like, man, the Olympics is all you could think about. And, of course, back then, we weren't thinking about all these other opportunities we had. It was like Olympics, and that's it.
Yeah.
So that was the plan and the path. And when I got to high school, injuries started to pile up. You kind of, think you're big stuff for what you've done in the past and everything. And your career's kind of starting to go away a little bit. And as that was kind of starting to happen, I kind of was getting a little bit of a depressive state on me. So I needed somewhere to kind of center me, and the camera kind of called back to me a little bit on that. And I remember going on a trip to D.C. with my best friend and kind of taking pictures on my phone and got the shutter bug, as they call it. You get bit by the shutter bug.
Oh, that's funny. I like that.
And then kind of was just offering races from there. So I was able to take, I guess, that competitive spirit and that ease and I guess mental joy that track and field brought me, and was able to convert it to photography. That was, I think, about 16 when I kind of started to make that transition a little bit.
Wow, okay.
What were you taking pictures of?
At that time period, you start off in like Smithsonian, like all the airplanes and stuff, but just whatever you can get. I love toys, so like toys and stuff like that, and then it got into cars. So my uncle taught me how to shoot cars for years. I love cars. Like from an angle, make them seem like they're moving, all that type of stuff. And then from there, kind of built up into, I guess, street documentary photography. And I'm kind of known for it now.
Yeah, that's definitely your lane now, bro. It's I love how you can almost like feel the energy in every photo you're taking. Mm-hmm. You can kind of, it kind of paints a picture for you in itself. You almost don't even need a caption for a lot of these pictures you're posting and stuff.
Yeah. I try to lead that up to the viewer. For me, and how I view photography is more of like, it's a feeling, it's an emotion, it's almost like poetry, of sorts. It's not really just having the camera. It's just more so like me being an extension of the environment that I'm in and trying to capture that. And sometimes they could be the more mundane moments, but I think we can learn a lot in those mundane moments. We can learn more about ourselves. We can learn more about our society, and it just paints even a bigger picture sometimes. So it may look as the more basic, on the surface, but you can kind of, go into the details a little bit and let it work out.
Is there, just to circle back on the track thing real quick, what are the ways to like make money, especially back then, like as a track athlete? Like let's say you're running track and you don't go to the Olympics. Like is endorsements really your only way to kind of thrive in that environment? Yeah.
So back then, and this was before they had what they called a Diamond League. So the Diamond League is, I don't want to call it the NFL, but basically. Okay. So you have USA. Well, let me back up. USATF is the NFL for track in America. Okay. And then the Diamond League will be like, we'll call it Champions League in soccer.
Okay, word.
Right. So they have the biggest pot, and they make way more money in Europe than they do in the States. So you'll just like run track meets, like first place to get paid, first through like sixth place to get paid, then your endorsements. But you get paid like dog crap. Really? In America versus, overseas, which is crazy because America probably has the greatest track team in the world, in the history of the world, and it's arguably the hardest team on planet Earth to make in any sport.
Oh, really?
It is very, very difficult. I mean, you got to think about it. So, like, okay, so you seen like in the 100, everybody ran pretty much under 10 seconds, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's only like maybe less than 2% of the world's population that can run that fast. So imagine you being 4th place in the U.S. trials. And you're literally like one of the 2% fastest people on earth. You can't even make it to the Olympics because you have to run that fast. So so you have that, and then like I think with the Diamond League, I think like the winner wins like a couple mil. So the money is like nowhere near where it should be, but you'll make way more money. So you have like sometimes, like I think after the Olympics, a lot of the athletes stayed over in Europe, and they like just been running track meets, and they'll make like, I think first place to get like 50, 100,000 versus here you may make like 25,000 for getting first place.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's like a huge break.
So you can make money doing it, but it's like as to actually get rich from just running track meets, it'd be so difficult. It seems like unless you're an Olympic athlete or something like that.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, you know, if you take a run of the mill athlete, right, that runs in the pros, they may have to be on the road like 3 times a week running track meets just to get money. Because we're talking like the unsponsored athlete, not like the guy that's sponsored by Nike.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then, you know, the superstars, they get paid an appearance fee. So let's say if Usain Bolt was still running, right, and Hayward Field out in Oregon, track towns, big track thing, they may pay you saying, hey, we got 100,000 just for you to come to the track meet alone. If you want to run, we'll give you another 20 just to run. If you win, our pot to win that race is like 250. You know, just throwing numbers out.
Yeah.
And then like first place would be, I guess, 100. You know, go down, and then whatever Puma would pay him, so he can walk away, you know, with probably $1 million that meet.
Yeah, for sure.
But the average Jew from Texas or something like that, that's, you know, trying to get his way in there, you know, he got to get his way up there to the meet and then pray that he wins, you know, that money, because he doesn't have a sponsor.
Do you think that a lot of those guys kind of panic when they bring in a guy like Usain Bolt or like one of those big names like Noah Lyles or anyone?
Yes and no.
Because it always seems like there's not necessarily a huge gap, but it's like those guys are just unbeatable. It seems like, man, they're just the fastest of the fast.
It's with track, it's such a mental game though. So sometimes, you know, when you do hear a big name, it automatically play in your head. Like when you hear Bolt, you know,
you're finna lose.
Yeah, like, it kind of put it into your head. So you have to be so locked in mentally. And I think a lot of people miss that part about. They don't see that part about track and field because it's hard to portray that on television. But like how dialed in you have to be with a lot of those guys. So.
What events were you running?
I was a sprinter, so I ran the 100. But the 200 was my race, so kind of like Noah. The 100 would be a little bit tougher task, but the 200, yeah, you was gonna have to work if you wanted that.
Do you think you could have beat Noah in your prime?
My prime, honestly, probably not. I mean, before injuries, I was pretty quick, but he was a little bit faster than I was at that same time period. So I think before I really started getting hurt, I was running like a 10.5 in the 100.
Oh wow!
Like
I know it's a different sport, but did you ever clock your 40? Because that's the only thing I could have to compare.
I know. It's always that. I don't remember. The last time I remember doing it was like at the Super Bowl, when the Super Bowl was here at the NFL Experience against my dad. It was like 4.9, but I was 4'9".
Young. That's like, still a really good 40. I like
it. That's like 4'9". I don't know. Like I thought, I don't have a good start neither, like Noah does. But I thought in my prime I might have been a high 4.4 maybe.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm better after 40. Yeah, so true. That flying 40, that might have been something.
But getting there,
you're like I'm just getting it at 40. So I might. So I thought maybe high 4.3, but I would say like a 4.4 guy probably would have been.
That's
if I
awesome.
did the 40, So I could have moved a little bit.
Yeah. I ran track in high school. That was like I did it for like 2 or 3 seasons or something, and I was 200 and 400.
Oh, nice.
I was like, I know for a fact I'm not making. I could never do like cross country or long distance. That was like, there's no way. I mean, it's just my stamina just ain't there, bro. And then, but I also knew I wasn't quick enough for the 100. I mean, the 100, I'm like dead last. Like I'm like barely getting off the fucking line. People are finishing the fucking race. But no, I love the 200, man. I liked how just like starting off on the curve. And then just like once you hit that last like 100, man, it's just that's where you fucking turn.
Yeah, like you got time to process. Like the thing with the 100 is so fast, but it's also slow when you're in it because of you know, if you're patient and stuff like that. But at 200, you can actually see the whole race, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you got so much more time. It's like, okay, they're that far away. Okay, let me hit the gas now.
Yeah.
Versus like the 100 was
Full
like,
sprint.
oh man, like it's too late. So
And the 400 is kind of like that similar way.
Oh
where
man, race right there.
I like the 400 because you can it kind of does feel like you can, you know, like if you do have like, you know, a little bit of a gap on second place or whoever it is, you kind of can like, you know, gauge it.
Yeah, you
But
can.
then if you're, you know, second to last or you're farther down in the pack, man, you know, like, all right, I got to turn on the jets a little bit early.
Yeah, you got to. Yeah, the thing with the 400, because like the 400, it really doesn't change unless you like got somebody who's just like crazy fast.
Yeah.
It really won't change until you get close to the 100 coming down to really see who actually is in first or second. So like if you maintain your speed and you like kind of staying with the pack, you could still be in first place and be in lane 8.
Yeah.
And then everybody got to go after that. So you do get to see what's going on.
But the thing that sucks, man, is as soon as I'd cross the finish line after a 400, I feel like I'm going to die. I feel like I'm literally knocking on death's door.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's like, you know, you'll throw up after the race. You'll sit there. You have to like lay on the grass for 10 minutes and just stare at the sky.
You remember those beach Olympics we did?
Oh,
and
yeah.
I had to run.
Beach
Bro,
Olympics.
yeah, so it was like a medley. It was like a 400-yard medley. You had to run, swim, bear crawl. And
Oh, my
something
God.
else. Bro, I had to swim 50 yards and then run another 50. But I went so hard during that 50, my legs gave out, bro.
Oh,
like, I'm
man.
like trying to
Burnt
run
that-
back.
burnt
bro.
that energy
I couldn't-
system out,
that shit
man.
hurt.
And then I was the leg where you're just doing the sprint, I think.
That boy was
Into-
cooking.
but the thing that sucks, I was trying and I was still in like fourth. And then it's funny though because you're running kind of, it was like a little bit of water. It was like where the tide pool is kind of.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
and so you're
yeah.
kind of like stepping in the water. Then there's like a hole every once in a while. So you're kind of like being cautious with how hard you want to run through it. And then I just see Joey take off and I'm like, he's already fucked up. Like he hadn't even got to the water yet. And he's just
I was
like,
first in the water. Don't try me.
no, what I'm saying is like you were already
My
like,
energy.
your energy,
Yeah, your
bro.
energy system was burnt, man. Yeah.
When he got to the water, man, then he started swimming. And then it was so funny watching all the guys try to get out of the water because like they'd go out, swim down, and then come back in.
Yeah.
And dude, Joey was like, I mean, he was still first. I'm pretty sure finishing, but he was like dying coming out of the water, man. So I have a newfound respect for just the Olympic Games in general. Obviously, track and field is probably my favorite, like summer Olympic sport.
Yeah.
I love watching the swimming too.
Swimming is
Yeah,
impressive.
swimming is pretty tight.
And
yeah.
Ledecky is so fun to watch.
Oh, yeah.
She was
Yeah,
like
her
cooking.
with a Driscoll, and yeah, man, it was. I love watching them. That rivalry between them and Australia. I didn't even know that was really a thing until really this Olympics. Like you watch Michael Phelps, and he was dominating by. Like I didn't know like how long the U.S. Australian swim rivalry was too. Like it's crazy.
yeah, it's kind of cool to see kind of like all the countries go against each other. You know, if it almost feels like it's like more so not just person versus person, but country versus country.
Yeah.
You know, and I kind of like that shit too. I think it's good for competition. Also, Sha'Carri Richardson.
Oh man,
I can watch that girl run all day,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
It's just so much swag. Like that's the thing.
She's
is, like,
so smooth with it.
so smooth. She'll like finish the race and
Yeah.
Yeah.
got her long
Straight
ass
face.
nails. Yeah, straight face, dude. I
Similar
fucking
sauce, man. I mean, and what a story, man. Like she went from winning, U.S. to go to the Tokyo Olympics, and then all that kind of happened. The world kind of tried to go against her. Then she just rose out of the ashes. Stronger now.
It was for smoking weed, wasn't it?
Yeah, and like I think she lost a family member. I can't remember, but it was like somebody really, really close to her, and she just was in that mental state, and that's where she kind of had to go. And I how people are, with that type of stuff. So I fully understood that, for sure. And it was crazy to kind of see like after that, like how people tried to dog her. It's like, man, you've been in that same position like Sha'Carri, man.
100%, yeah.
You can't do that to her. And then I think she ran a race later that season, and she like came in dead last, and people was like trying to joke on her. It was like, y'all don't know her story. Y'all don't know what she's going through, man. Like, just let her play out, and then it worked out.
And she
like,
came back.
And you talk about endorsements. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
she's
bro.
Vogue and everything.
No, she's like the top tier. Like she really is the blueprint if you're trying to go the
Yeah.
endorsement route and just kind of like build. I mean, I think with a lot of athletes, the biggest struggle has got to be trying to brand yourself, right? Because
Yeah.
your whole life you're so focused on just being an athlete and like trying to be the
Yeah.
best in your game, and that alone is so time consuming.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to consume pretty much your whole life. And then you try to get into like the business side of being an athlete, and Caitlin Clark comes to mind. A lot of these other ladies that are like, now it's like a household name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people are talking about you as an athlete, but not even because of your performance on the field. You know
But
what I
because
mean?
of the way you looked at your opponent. Like,
Yeah. Or
all
because
the
of-
eyes are always
Totally.
on you.
100%. Your outfit,
Yeah.
just the way that you kind of carry yourself, like outside of your sport or whatever.
Yeah,
so
your brand. Yeah, like another one that's probably one of my favorites, probably is my favorite, is Gabby Thomas. She won the 200, and like her stories are crazy. Like went to Harvard. I mean, she has like a doctorate degree or something, and when she's not at practice, which is every day, well, I guess after practice, she like goes work at this hospital. Like if you don't have health insurance, like she's like doing that.
Wow.
It's like it's crazy, like the diversity that they can have with these athletes.
Yeah.
Man.
It's weird how you can. I mean, sometimes you think about it and you're like, how does this person still do things outside of their sport and then be the number one in their game? You know, I know for me, if I ever wanted to even compete on, I'm not even talking Olympics. I'm talking about this. Like, I'm talking about this like you know, like USA, correctly. I'm like, I'm gonna have to commit backyard football, bro. I'm gonna have to commit every single hour of my life for the next decade to fucking do this. Yeah. And then you look at some of these other athletes. It's like the fact they still do stuff on the side.
They have jobs, day jobs.
Yeah, like how? Like
they go to school.
Yeah.
It's impressive, man. I think some people are just specimens, man, and just their sport, man. It's really something. Noah Lyles.
Oh man,
that's another guy where I'm like, I've always kind of looked up to his game. I mean, he's as fast as they fucking come, I feel like. But then him and Tyreek, I don't know if you heard about any of that, like, you know.
Oh yeah,
they got a little beef going on.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill and Noah Lyles, they've been kind of going back and forth about who's faster. And do you have an opinion on that? I almost feel like for me, it's like, I mean, how does Tyreek is so out of his lane by even saying stuff like that, but then at the same time, I mean, I know Tyreek has a track and
I feel like
background.
Noah takes a dub though.
Oh, all day. That's what I'm saying. That,
yeah,
100%.
I mean, to me, it's not really close with Noah. Like I said, Tyreek has a much deeper track background than people give him credit for. But when you've that removed away from the sport, and when he was running, he didn't have fun. He just was naturally fast, period. Mm-hmm. So, like, the thing, even if they did, he tenses up like this, and this right here is going to get him burnt. Like, just doing that.
Yeah.
But, you know, you can't compete with that, and then all that extra weight that Tyreek had to put on. And you better had a chance with maybe year 2 Kansas City, Tyreek versus Noah than I think you do today's.
Mm-hmm. For sure, yeah.
And then the crazy part about it, you know, the reality is he might not be a fast person on the Dolphins. Like, you got half of that team that actually ran track.
Yeah.
Who was that? Raheem Mostert.
Yeah.
You know, was a very well-known track person
Even
as well.
Waddle is kind of quick,
Waddle was a track guy.
Yeah.
Like, these are like real dudes that could run.
Yeah.
Like,
it's funny. We had Mia on, and that was one thing she mentioned. She's like, you know, because we're playing the Dolphins. Jags play the Dolphins week 1.
Yeah.
And, you know, Mia, she gave us the win in that game. She's like, but I will say that is a track team.
Yeah.
You know, that's not even an NFL team. That is a track team.
It is the NFL equivalent of Urban Meyer's Percy Harvin days, man.
yeah.
Like, that was a track team on a football. I'd never seen anything like that.
It is kind of a cheat code, though, man. If you're like a NFL, like a GM or whatever, man, like go get guys that, you know, have a background in literally just running fast. You
Burn
know,
they can catch the ball.
everybody.
Just burn everybody.
Yeah.
Man. Like, what's that play on Madden? 4 verts. That's all we do. 4 verts, man. I don't care what you got. We burn it.
Oh, 100%. Joey loves that shit. I fucking hate it.
Chill.
I know whenever me and Joey are picking teams and he's got the Dolphins, I know I'm pretty much fucked. It's going to be
I'm throwing it deep every time.
I'm playing
Tyreek.
prevent defense all game long. No, but you've, you know, taken your career and done so many dope things with it, man. Like, you've worked with all these huge brands, like one being Nike, GQ. Has there been any specific projects you've worked on where you know, they kind of stood out to you personally?
Well, speaking of Noah Lyles, I mean, I was more full circle actually being able to photograph him back in 2021 for GQ. Wow. And that was for the Tokyo Olympics, and it was like the body issues, so he like had his shirt off and stuff like that. And it was so funny because, well, it was humbling more so because, again, the sport that I thought I was going to be doing for my life, I put it to the side, and it came back to me in the form of this. Yeah. So it was pretty awesome. And, again, to do Noah, who I am a fan of, you know, as well. And again, then being in GQ of all places, being from here, that was pretty cool. What's another one?
What was your first big project where you're kind of like, damn, this is, you know, the nerves almost kind of kicked in a little bit for you, and, you know, you had to show out.
My first big project, honestly, might have been when I got the call from the New York Times, honestly. You know, I guess in the street photographer, photojournalism range, you have like these certain pillars. Like, if you hit this, kind of like you made it, so to speak. Sure. And, you know, Nat Geo may be one for some people. Time is usually another one. And then, like, New York Times is like one of those. Like, if you get there, it's like people know who you are type
You're
of thing.
doing something.
So you said you got a call. Like, walk us through this. Like, what are you doing?
Well, so I actually got an email. So I was just chilling at the shop, and I just randomly seen this email. I was like, okay, this got to be spam. Like, there's no way.
New York Times.
Yeah, I was like, New York Times. So I read it, and it was like, hey, man, we really love your work. We want to get you, we want to get you on with us. I'm going to send you the contract if you're down. And then, like, I just like, oh, my God. Like, I don't get, that animated, but, like, I was animated that time. Like, I just couldn't believe it. It was like, wow.
Yeah.
And the very next day, I got my first assignment before I even signed papers.
Really?
Oh, wow. What was that first assignment?
So the first assignment was actually on the Ahmaud Arbery situation that happened in Brunswick.
Oh, yeah.
So it was dealing with that, and I kind of had to people that knew Ahmaud and like his cousin. I believe he's like one of his school teachers. Yeah, his football coach. That's what it was. Football coach, and it was I think somebody like a chiropractor or something that he worked with, and it was just. Getting a story like that meaningful and that was like that close to home as well, was very, very powerful to me, and kind of just went off from there. But when, like, I got that call and then it ended up being that, I was like, man, you've done it. You put in the work that you made it to this moment, and you're from Jacksonville. It's not like you left Jacksonville, like you did that from here.
Yeah.
And made that happen. So that definitely was.
Did you reach out to them at any point? Like, how did that connection even happen?
The only thing I could think of was I know a lot of photographers that worked there, that have done work with them, and I knew one editor at the time that was there. Well, back then that was there, and I would just talk to him from here and there. So I don't know if he might have threw a word in or not. But I kind of had heard rumblings that my name had been around a little bit up in the area. I had done work in New York before, and I've I did some work with BBC. Being a boys club and ice cream. So I think my name just kind of got around a little bit. And then with freelance at that time period getting bigger and bigger, you kind of could stay at home and they could bring the work to you. So it was kind of like one of those things like, who do we have in Jacksonville? It's like, hey, we got that Malcolm kid, so then there we go.
That's awesome. Yeah, you definitely, you've done so many cool things just in the community too. I remember you posted a picture one time of like a custom skateboard deck or whatever.
Oh yeah.
How did that come about, bro? Because I think people don't realize like the skateboarding community in Jacksonville is huge, bro. Like, I mean, it kind of like runs this city, I feel like sometimes, man. Everyone in here has either skateboarded at some time, wanted to be a pro skater at some time, you know what I mean? Or they're still involved in it in some way, Even clothing brands around here, man, they use skateboarding as like their outlet to kind of like find models and get that like,
and they're still building skate parks here. They just got that new one
they just
downtown.
built the new one.
That shit's fire.
Underneath the Fulham Warren Bridge, which is like literally I-95.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, Jacks and skateboarding, I mean, they pretty much go hand in hand with each other. So that collaboration was with the Block Skate Supply, big shop down in Springfield, and I've known those guys for a long time. And they kind of was like, man, Matt, whenever you want to do something, let us know. And I was like, man, how difficult it is to do a skate deck. So you want to do one? I'm like, yeah. And it kind of worked out. It was right before everything shut down with the pandemic. And kind of took this image that I had with my buddy Sheldon, who's an amazing trumpet player. Shout out Sheldon Quick. And just slapped them on there. We did different colors, and we did I did a collaborative deal with Mark with 8103, and we made like a whole big deal out of it, and just brought the city together, and that was really dope. And it's another way to get people access into the arts if they don't feel as sometimes the arts from an outside perspective can seem kind of snobby. So I try to find different ways where it could be more inviting for people, where they can feel more comfortable in that environment and learn more about the arts from that perspective. Where you don't have to go to the big fancy museum and wear a turtleneck. You know what I'm saying? so that was it was really, really dope to do that time. We called it Main Street Nights.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, you I really like your style of photography, man. Like, I don't know what you would call it. I'm sure you can give a much better description, but it almost feels like it's like a candid style where it's like, you do have people, like there are certain pictures where they're kind of posted up and they're like posing for the camera, but a lot of the times it's just like people in their day-to-day life, like doing something. And, maybe I'm sure you kind of stage certain things to make it all like, full picture and paint a picture for people in their head. But I mean, describe your style. I feel like as the outside viewer looking in, you almost just feel like you're like just kind of passing by.
Yeah.
You feel like this is what you would see if you're just kind of like walking by this person.
Very natural.
Yeah, very natural, 100%.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, by definition, it's street photography, but for me, is just more of a documentation of life itself. I just like to be that fly on the wall and just experience life and live in it. Live in the triumphs, live in the downfalls of it, just experience it all and how that relates to us as humans, how it relates to us as a city, how it relates to us as a country. And again, just taking a lot of those mundane moments that we take for granted. Sometimes I'll go out in the street and I'll see a moment that I remember seeing as a kid and I'll photograph that. And I remember being in that position before. Yeah. Or, shooting my girls, my daughters and whatnot. And like, man, this is, I remember seeing something like this as a kid growing up and using those things as a snapshot of, what could be going on in America in a both positive and a negative aspect, but it has to be honest and a realistic aspect as well. And I think when we able to do that, we're able to kind of peel everything back and see, okay, this is what we have going on around here. What do we need to fix,
100%.
What's crazy to me is like anybody can take pictures. Literally anybody. Me and Nick, my sister, like anybody can go take a picture. But like not anybody can be a photographer. So how do you catch, like, do you have, like, is there a vision? Like, because if I take a picture of something and then you take a picture of something, I guarantee it's going to look like so much different.
For sure.
So like, how do you, like, is it angles? Is it a vision? Like, how do you pick what you want to take a picture of?
I mean, yeah, angles definitely does play a big role in it. But for me, photography is a feeling, though. It's an emotional connection more so than it is. I mean, you got some photographers, and again, everybody has their own style, right? So you have some who are dialed in like that and then technical. Where for me, it's more so just a flow. I just kind of let it come to me. I can go a day and not take a single image, and that still be a good day to me if I got my camera on me.
Yeah.
You can have other days when you took in, 3,000. But at that 3,000, you might only have 5 that's actually, tight.
Yeah.
It's just all about a flow. So sometimes people will see me, sometimes they'll see me without a camera. And I'm like, man, how you this guy? It don't have the cameras. Like, it happens like that. I don't try to, just like in basketball, you don't, or even in football, like let the game come to you as opposed to you trying to come to the game, sometimes. And I've worked better in that capacity. So I just try to move it more in the flow. Photography is, it's an art form, but it's more of an extension of myself.
Expression.
Yeah, expression of myself, so to speak.
I like that. I feel like you almost have to have that eye for it. Like the more you keep taking pictures and have the experience you do, he's definitely going to have a different eye for what's a good picture.
Yeah.
Me and you might just like go outside and we see something, we're like, oh, this looks dope, like zoom into a leaf or some shit. But for him, he like sees the whole picture, man. How important do you think like the edits come into it as well? Because all of your pictures always have like a very, like they almost kind of have an aesthetic, like they all match on your profile very well. I know for a while, like a lot of your pictures were in like the black and white format.
I still shoot a lot of black and white. I still shoot a lot of film too, 35 millimeter film. So a lot of that kind of plays into it. And it just always has that classic style. And there's a famous photographer, Robert Frank, who I believe he said this, that black and white are the true colors of photography. Because I love shooting color too, and you can tell a lot of stories in it. But there's a lot of story also in those grayscales. And it also kind of eliminates that distraction of color so we can get down to the meat and potatoes, what we're trying to get to. So I've always kind of used that as my way of, okay, let's get directly to whatever I'm trying to speak to and be more direct. Outside of that, I just try to, we got some beautiful sunshine down here and kind of just find the light,
100%.
Find the best light that works with it. And I like playing with a lot of contrast, a lot of dark in the lights to kind of, make it a little bit more dramatic sometimes, but I just kind of just let it happen.
Yeah.
I don't have the cleanest, so sometimes I have a lot of work that may be out of focus, but for me, it's always emotion first. If the story is there, anything else will come after that. You can have something that can be perfectly composed, it can be sharp, but if there's no meaning to it, it's not a photograph to me.
100%.
But if it's blurry and like you feel that image, we got something.
I like that. That's actually a really good point. Yeah. Do you have a specific photo shoot that kind of stood out to you? Like anything where, it kind of stood the test of time? I know you have one specifically for myself that I'll mention. You have a couple pictures where it's like a chick on the beach and she's got like an old school longboard. I know from me and Joey are big surfers, and just like the that image itself, I'll pop it up here on the screen, but it's just like, it almost like you can kind of feel the vibe in that picture. You know what I mean? Like, it just feels like classic summer day Jacksonville, girl about to go paddle out. You know what I mean? That image for me kind of was like, it stood out. Like, that's something I would very easily put on my wall and like, just this is a dope picture. And I'm sure, it all depends on the consumer. Like, some people are going to look through your page and then, see other pictures where like, oh no, this is a fucking dope.
I like the cowboy pictures.
That's right.
Yeah, that's been fun. Yeah.
Was that at the Black Rodeo?
Yeah, I think that ones I just did recently was from the Black Rodeo.
We got invited to that, dude. I wanted to go to that.
Oh, you got to get it in.
I wanted to.
I
heard it was incredible,
man. It's awesome, man. I love it. Yeah, that's the Black Cowboy stuff has been a ongoing series for me. I started that back in, I think, right at the pandemic, like 2020. I just always wanted like a long-term project, and then I found out like where the definition like cowboy came from, and I was like, man, I'm gonna look for I guess I get a history lesson. So originally back like right after like slavery times, anything to demean the black slaves or whatever, they would put boy at the end of it. So a white cowboy at that time period was called a cowhand. And then they would go, the black cowboys were cowboy.
No way, that's crazy.
Like house boy, chore boy. So that's where it came from. And then they just did all these amazing things because they learned how to ride horses on the plantation, moving cattle and stuff. So they just took those same skills now that they were gone, and they just kind of out in the world. So those stories got out about all these amazing cowboys, and then Hollywood found out, and then that's how it flipped.
Wow, that's insane. That is insane.
So cowboy technically is like a demeaning term?
Well,
it started off as a demeaning term because they would put the boy on it to demean the black man.
But then, they kind of ran with the name and kind of made it like a staple.
Yeah, they ran with it. So, like the Lone Ranger was named after Bass Reeves, who they have a TV show on like Paramount Plus called Lawman Bass Reeves. It's based off of him being the Lone Ranger.
Oh,
so the original Lone Ranger TV show from back in the day is based off of the real Bass Reeves, who was the first black U.S. Marshal.
Wow.
So it's insane. So like when I was learning about all that stuff, and even like Bill Pickett, who was a famous, he kind of invented a lot of the rodeo games, and actually he shot a movie that was shot here back then. Like,
no way.
Norman Studios was a black studio from like way back in the 20s, back when like Jacksonville was like the like Hollywood before Hollywood.
Oh my god!
And or the silent movie capital of the world. And yeah, they shot a movie called Bulldogging because that's what they called it before. It was they turned it to what's it called, steer wrestling. So it was called Bulldogging because back on the plantation, the bulldogs would bite down on the lip of the calf to get it down. So at that time period, slaves learned that technique, so they would bite the lip down. And it was so vicious that eventually they said, man, let's just grab the horns instead and get them down instead of just biting that bottom lip to try to get them down. So that's where that came from. So learning all of that, I was like, man, I got to find like these cowboys in Florida and just kind of learn about the traditions and stuff. And I've always felt connected to them. And then it went from some months, kind of went dead, and out of nowhere, Uncle called, I heard you're looking for some cowboys. And he found some at church, and then they kind of started popping out to work. And then my fiance, she went to school with one, and then kind of the ball kind of just opened up from there. And then the Black Rodeo happened, and it's just been an amazing thing, just learning from those guys, learning like how deep Jacksonville cowboy culture is, and seeing like how many more people like they're also into this stuff. It's not like it was like a fad for Jacksonville. It's like, no, like this is part of our culture too. Yeah. It's so dope. Like, but the Black Rodeo, I mean, even like bull riding PBR comes, like it's a huge deal. When they come to town. Like I used to go to that as a kid as well. So
yeah, I love going to those events, man, and it's cool. Like I love the pictures you get from those events because the emotion is so high. Yeah. It almost seems like it's either one or the other, right? Like you have a very like. You can almost like read their face.
It's
like
intense.
Very intense, but then you've got like the other pictures where they're like, it's very like casual and calm, like they're so locked in kind of in the zone. Like I love the ones where you got like me and Joey have totally done it. We went to Nashville and we were dressed up as cowboys for one night. And I was like, Joe, you got to get just a couple pictures of me with the hat on, just like looking into the camera, just like the dramatic image,
There's some good pictures.
I love those pictures,
that hat
bro.
do wonders, man.
Yeah,
that hat do wonders. The hat and those boots, man. I love my boots. It's crazy. Like when you look at cowboy boots, if you never put it on, like there's no way they're comfortable. They're like the most comfortable.
They're so comfortable.
Earth,
we both discovered that for the first time.
No, mine are comfortable.
Mine are pretty comfortable too. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I thought you said uncomfortable.
No. They're like the most comfortable shoes I own.
So comfortable,
like I can wear them all day long.
Mine got the little
crazy,
cushy like I'm walking on pillows.
Yeah, it's insane. Like,
it's cool too because you also at the same time feel like you could. I mean, you could like kick a freaking brick wall and you're not even going to feel it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
like,
you can just
like
go
they protect
to work.
your feet so well.
It's
you
crazy.
know?
Like you can literally go from the ranch to the club and these things all in one day. Like it's insane.
And the more beat up they look, the better they are.
The better they are.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
the best part. You
That's
got
the
to
only
wear,
shoe you
got
can
to
do
wear
that
your
with.
boots. If I ain't teaching nothing else today, wear your cowboy boots, man.
Yeah.
Wear your cowboy boots.
I'm gonna put them on right after.
It's funny because we went to Nashville. That is when we came back. Any picture you see of Joey, or if you see him out, like, dude, we'll be at like, you know, we'll
bars.
the bars or something or whatever. And you see Joey with the cowboy boots on. I'm like, my brother.
I love them.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
No, shout out to the cowboy boots, man. That was definitely something I picked up when we were in Nashville. Big fan of that. But no, man, you also did some work with the Jags.
Yeah.
So-
No, man.
Yeah,
Love
he's,
the Jaguars.
the roots are deep in Jacksonville for him, man.
Yeah,
Shout out
man.
to Duval. Yeah, some of the work that you did with them, man, is super impressive too. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So at that time, shout out Everett, man. Everett Sullivan, big dude over there, does a lot with Jags Cinema. So a lot of the movies that you see on the screen before kickoff and stuff like that, he works on a lot of those. He's featured me in a couple of those. So I've been up there on the screen every now and again. Like, so Malk, I saw you up there. Like, yeah. So how I even met him, I did a show called Candy back in, I think, 2017. And he came to it, and that show is based off like the old school donks, the old school cars and Chevys and stuff. And like I had the Chevys in the middle of the art gallery. So he came to that, and then I just kind of told him, like, man, how hard is it to get on the field? I know you work for the Jags. Like, how hard is it? You want to shoot a game? Well, I want to shoot down there. I don't want to shoot the game. Like, say the word. So I was like, hey, man, let's do it. So my first game was 2017 season.
That's a good season.
That was a good time.
Yeah, 2017. I'm like, that's the time to be out there shooting the field.
Yeah,
man.
it was out there. It was the game with the AJ Green, Jalen Ramsey. It was that game.
Oh my God, that's the best game.
I was there. That was my first game.
That's
I was
crazy.
Able to shoot. And I know Logan Boyles, who's love that dude, like big dude out there with the Jags, and works with the NFL now. And kind of told him like, hey man, I don't want to do y'all thing because that's what y'all do. Y'all shoot, with the players. I kind of want to capture not the more mundane, but just like I grew up loving like those images that photographers was able to get on the sidelines in the 70s, like the Raiders. I had guys smoking cigarettes on the sideline, right? And
the emotion,
like Joe Walsh and Joe Montana going over players in the grass. Like I liked those type of images. I was trying to figure out what that could look like in today's standards, and it's a little bit different, but I still got a lot of how human these guys are when they're not gladiators on the field. So that was more of my approach, and whenever I'm able to get down there, and I was able to do that. And I remember I got the image after Jalen got ejected. Me and then Bob Self, who's retiring soon, legendary photographer from Jacksonville that worked with the Time Union. We were the only two photographers there when he was walking out of the tunnel. So I do have an image. I got to find it, but I have an image of Jalen. He was walking out, and he's just kind of like, walking through the tunnel after he got ejected, and it was so cool. And then I got I know I posted on my Twitter with Jadon Meekins when he did the run back, and who else was on that team? That wide receiver, I can't think of his name, that went to USC. But yeah, like I got all that, man. It was awesome.
Dude, that is like the perfect game.
To
go and shoot. Like if you're just looking for like sideline emotion and shit, dude, that is the best
insane,
game to do it for.
It
I mean, that whole
crazy.
year was insane. But I mean, the AJ Green, Jalen Ramsey stuff, I remember like it was yesterday. I remember when they ejected Jalen too, and I was just like, I mean, I was pretty.
Oh,
fired
we
up.
all, yeah.
I was so fired up, man.
It was crazy. 'Cause, like I met Jalen, like I met his either his brother or his cousin, like right before that when I walked on the field for the first time. And he just kind of put me to the side, like, hey, you can get a picture, just use my phone. You can get a picture of me and Jalen. I'm like, all right. So now he just called Jalen over and he did like dap me up and stuff like that. And I like took their pictures and like slap me up again, told him, man, make sure you get me good, man. I'm like, I got you, Jay. And,
then he
so I got him already. But yeah, it was crazy, man. Like for that to be that first game, like everything that was going on, like it was a high scoring game too. And what was so funny, again, like the human moments is like the stories, what you don't hear because you up in the stands, like when you're down on the sideline, what they're talking about, like they were arguing about what's the best grocery store.
Really?
It's like whenever Jalen, like before Jalen got ejected, like him, who else was on that defense? That was Miles Jack was there.
Yeah.
Like they were all like sitting on the bench.
Telvin Smith.
And they were arguing about like, man, Kroger better than Publix, and like,
come on now.
I think Telvin looked at them crazy, like, what? So they were just arguing about grocery stores. It was like, bro, if these people knew what they was talking about, they're not talking about a 4-3 defense right now. This is crazy.
Did it hold like a little bit of extra value just with you being born and raised in Jacksonville? Like I know for me,
totally.
like just the connection to the Jags, like you're always that underdog. Like in the NFL standards, the Jags are always that like underdog team. Yeah. But for a Jacksonville native, this is all we got. This is like the top. This is like the closest to. Like professionalism and stuff when it comes to like sports leagues that we have in Jacksonville.
It is.
You know what I mean? But it's like it's just like the worldwide, like the
it's what
stage.
Puts us on the map.
The big stage is what puts you on the map. So
it's like this. It's like I tell people this a lot when I compare them. The Jags and Jags fandom, especially people that's from here, it's the closest that you can get to what it's like in England or in Europe with soccer teams and like how dialed in they are. Because when you look at the history of a lot of those clubs, they're dialed into the neighborhood exactly, or they're dialed into something that's connected. Like Arsenal is dialed into the actual Arsenal in London, right? Mm-hmm. We're like the Jags again, our market is only, the first coast. So we're all connected to this one thing. So this is the only thing that we have. Yeah. When just like they're in like their neighborhood, like that's the only club that they have. So you take so much more extra pride in. It's like diehard, not even a word. Like
right
for me, like 100%. It is. Yeah, I am toxic to be around in the Jacks. Yeah, like get me away from people. Like I've gotten better over the years, but like I am just so intense because it means so much more. Like it is past football with me with the Jags. So whenever I'm able to even do anything with the Jags, it's just like. Man, I can go to heaven now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
this is it. Like anything that's done for the club, man, is there. So
yeah, I remember we had a guest on the pod, and she was singing the national anthem for the Jags game, and I told her outside of it. Shout out Madison Hughes, she's obviously a legend, and we had her on, and we were I mentioned it to her like how big of a Jaguars fan I am, and then. She hit me up like the next day. She's like, "Hey, we have an extra ticket if you like want to come on the field and do whatever." And I'm like out there. For her, it's just another day in the at the office. Yeah, she's just doing her thing. And for me, I'm like walking around. I know, I'm like it's so hard for me to hold a camera still right now or even do anything. Yeah. It's legendary.
Like
bro.
I remember like working in that stadium, doing like fundraising in the concession stands, and like I used to sneak down on the field after the games at night. And just like walking and just like, man, like I'm touching the grass right now. Yeah. Like, I'm looking up at the seats like. It was so surreal. It still gets surreal. Yeah. Like, that's sacred ground. Like anytime I walk in there, I tell them people like, "Hey, boy, we're on sacred ground now."
Yeah,
like it's a special place, man. I love the Jaguars. Man. They drive me crazy, but I love them to death.
The Jags have come such a long way, but also that stadium has come such a long way, bro.
Yes, man.
And it's crazy looking back at old pictures of what the stadium used to look like. And I remember going to those games with my dad when I was a child, you know what I mean? And just now going to the games like all my friends and shit, man. And it's you just look at it, you're like, we're so blessed, to be in this era, you know. But no, one thing I wanted to kind of segue off of the Jaguars talk with was people call you the mayor of Jacksonville. So I mentioned that whenever we first started the episode. Obviously, you're not the like official mayor of Jacksonville, but just so many people my DMs after we posted you is the guy that's gonna be on the podcast this week. So many people hit my line. They're like, "Oh, that's a mayor. That's a mayor." And then we had, our homie Cam. We had the fantasy football draft last night. Shout out to him. He was like, "You got the mayor coming on?" And I was like, at first, I didn't put two and two together. I was like, "Wait, I'm
pulling up your page. I'm like,
this dude's actually the mayor of Jacksonville." I was like, "How do I not put that?" And no, how'd you get that role, man?
So the moniker came from my boys, man. So I get it from being so knowledgeable about Jacksonville. Again, I'm really from here. My family's from here, and it's not too many of us left, at least, that's really from here, which is great. A lot of people coming in Jacksonville experiencing it, but it's not too many of us that are really from Jacksonville that are still here. Mm-hmm. So I've always taken those stories that my dad and my mom passed down to me about Jacksonville historically and to remember to take pride in this place. Like, don't let the national media try to tell you different about this place. Like, you come from the greatest place on earth. It may not look like it to other people, but this place builds what they want. What would they try to grab from us? Anything that you see done in a different city, see if Jacksonville did it first. 9 times out of 10, we probably did historically. I mean, again, we were Hollywood before Hollywood. Like, before the Harlem Renaissance, it all had to come through La Villa. So, like, years before the Harlem Renaissance happened, it happened here in Jacksonville first.
Wow.
They had to take the train, and Jacksonville is a logistics capital. You have to come through here if you want to go to New York City back then.
That's crazy.
You had no choice. It wasn't no airplanes in the 20s and 10s. Like, you had to come through Jacksonville. So all of that culture that would come from New Orleans and, you know, that we would take to Miami and whatever would come back from Miami, you had to run through here before you would go anywhere else.
That's wild.
So all of that stuff was going on. So that was always instilled in me. So I would, we would always ride around, and I would just point at a corner. I'm like, hey, so and so happened there. I'm like, you know, you the mayor, and then just being around, you know, in the creative community in multiple facets. I used to, you know, be in streetwear and fashion and stuff like that. So that's how I know, like, Casey all these years with LaFarve, and, you know, seeing him from, like, literally from research days, like the Waffle House tees. Like, I like Casey.
Oh my God, there since day one.
Like, I've known Casey a long time. He's really been getting it out the mud from the beginning. So if anybody doubt that, like, I can tell you, I've seen him my own 2 eyes. Like, he really earned this moment. Yeah. And, you know, my guys with Jordy and Stan and fourth quarter Quan, the DJ and everything, like, we all was there from the ground up, kind of building a lot of this stuff up. And even with Naps, like, I had Naps on here too, same thing with him. So it kind of just got passed on through there as best being that guy, or usually if you needed to get to somebody, it was like, you go through that guy. So
100%. I like what you said about Casey too, man, because we had him on for episode 9. And at that point, like, he hadn't been, like, the Jaguars, they
trying
wanted
to sue him.
Yeah, trying to sue him. Yeah, it wasn't even like they were trying to work with him. It was the complete opposite. And no, man, it's just so cool how, like, this community, I think we touched on it a little bit before we started recording. It's not like other places, man. It almost seems like everyone's kind of here to, it truly is like community over competition. Because, you know, I think we all understand that there is that outlook on Jacksonville where it's like, oh, they're not a, you know, major market, you know, like they're not like LA or Atlanta or Miami or whatever.
We all need it.
But we 100%, that's the thing is we almost like feed off that underdog mentality. And, you know, it's, we said something earlier before we started recording. It's like, if we were in Atlanta or if you're in LA and you interview like a certain type of person, or if we had someone on the podcast or, you know, whatever, their list of enemies is very long compared to anyone in Jacksonville. It's almost like, you know, when you first walk through the door, you're like, oh yeah, I know, I've seen you guys' stuff before. Like, I've got, you know, you've got like half my family on this fucking podcast before. And I was like, this is awesome, bro. I just love how Jacksonville kind of has that energy and that connection, and we're all kind of like intertwined in different ways, man. And the roots are so deep in Jacksonville. A lot of people don't realize it.
So deep, and it's so rich. And again, the culture in which the city built that we don't even know. Like, when people ask me to explain Jacksonville, like, you have to understand that Jacksonville is a blue collar city, not a white collar city.
Facts.
This is hard. I'm talking rail yard, longshoremen. I mean, we real deal workers around here. So we come with that mentality. Like, you're going to get it out the mud. You're going to earn it. You're going to take care of your people because that's all you got. And loyalty and hard work is what's going to take you far in this city. And it's going to take you far in this world. Anybody that's from Jacksonville that's made it somewhere, they are built off those values. And that's what made this place great.
100%, bro. I love that shit. Boys, let's jump into Joey's favorite segment.
Let's do it.
Just the Tip, episode 106. Joey, break it down for us, man.
So we got this new segment, Just a Tip. It's not that new anymore. It's episode 106 or 6 of the season. But
episode 106.
So Just the Tip. It's just any random tip. It doesn't have to be about photography or anything that you specifically do. It could be man to man, man to human, or whatever. Just whatever tip you got. Let's hear it.
I might have more than one.
Just the tip. So it's just one.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying
to
gotta put them back in the bag. Yeah. If I had to get one, I would say stay true to you. Mm-hmm. That's what's going to get you far in life. You can imitate all you want to on certain things, but when them lights finally do get on you, people going to like you for who you actually are.
Right.
So, you know, when you're out there doing your work, just make sure that you're staying true to who you really are, and that's what's going to get you far.
I like that because it's harder to fake it. Like if you start putting on this whole image, whatever, you have to keep that image, and if it's not true, you're faking it the whole time.
I love that. Yeah, you got to hold up that lie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's always the most difficult thing, and then you lose yourself in the process because you're not staying true to.
And you don't even know who you are.
100%. Yeah,
totally,
I like that. That's a really good one.
Good shit.
My just a tip for this week is surround yourself with winners, and you cannot lose.
Bingo.
That's one of my favorite ones, man. Just because I remember. Yeah, I mean, you always hear the quote like "you are who your top 5 friends are" or whatever. Or you become like a reflection.
Reflection.
And that shit is so true, man. Like right now, we're surrounded with just so many dogs and having so many people on this podcast. Like just to start off season 3, I'm so proud of the guests that we've had on the show, and including yourself, obviously. And it's just like it's so dope having. You really start to realize, like, just having just quick, 1-2 hour conversations with so many dogs.
It can change it.
Yeah, I've been more fired up in the last 2 months than I've been my entire life doing this podcast shit. You know what I mean? And that's not to say anything about the guests we found on the show, but I think just over time you start to like kind of feed off of their mentality. You know what I mean? And you just get that hunger and that drive, man.
And it helps when people start to recognize.
100% for sure.
You get that recognition that you need.
That cosign.
That always helps, man. When you're able to get enough, you don't need a whole bunch. You just need to know, like, hey, I'm here.
I'm doing the right stuff.
Let you know. That's all you really need, man.
For sure.
Just the tip is practice consistency over perfection.
Yeah, bingo. That
was in that bag. Hey, brother, I pulled it out for you. There it is. I like that one a lot.
So a lot of people get caught up just chasing perfection, and then they forget that you have to do shit every day, like multiple times a day, to get to perfection. So if you get caught up chasing perfection, you're gonna lose yourself. You ain't gonna stay true.
That's good.
Yeah.
I feel like someone could write a whole like book or like some scripture off of the 3 that we just gave.
Yeah,
they all do tie together.
Those were good.
Boy, hey gentlemen, that was great, man.
Awesome.
Joe, you got anything else?
No, I mean, I just want to say thank you for coming on here. I think it was a great conversation.
It was, man. Dude, honestly, it feels like it's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
I'm glad we were finally able to make this shit happen, man. When this episode drops, it'll be a couple days before the Jags' first game of 2024, the 2024 season.
Easy dub,
man. I'm excited. And we're, hopefully Tyreek Hill doesn't show us a lot of those track and field skills on Sunday.
Nah.
But no, boys, I'm excited. Honestly, man, Malcolm, shout out to you for coming on the pod, man.
Great
conversation,
man. And like
it's a huge honor for real.
I'm glad to now be OG Sessions alumni now.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's truly an honor, and to give y'all some flowers, man. Y'all are really doing something really dope with the city, with the people that are bringing on, that are inspiring others, and what y'all really do well too is. Yeah, y'all bring those people on, but you're having as human a conversation as possible. Like it's more so about the conversation than it is the person, so to speak.
For sure.
And I think that was adds more value to it, because now somebody who may be in a rut, and now they can look at that person that might be inspiring them, like, oh, okay, he's been in that position that I'm in right now.
For sure.
Now I feel, and now I can go. So, definitely give y'all flowers too, man. Y'all
I appreciate that, bro.
Man,
seriously.
sure.
Yeah, sometimes, sometimes you never really know what you're going to get out of a guest when they come on the show. Sometimes the guys you have the highest expectation or highest hopes for, I guess, with a conversation, they come through and they're just like, not to say a bland individual, but it's like, dang, they haven't really
They're a regular dude.
Yeah, regular dude, 100%.
Yeah.
But then, it's also, super cool how sometimes guests will surprise you as well. You have someone come on and you're like, you don't really know what to expect out of the conversation. You're like, oh my God, they've done so much dope shit,
Yeah.
And I love how, our audience can kind of, experience that as well whenever they listen to these episodes, man. And I know I was just so excited to talk to you whenever we first, started messaging back and forth, and I was like, this is going to be a good one, man. So shout out to you, man. Seriously, this is I wouldn't rather have a podcast in any other community.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like when it comes down to it, bro, I think a lot of people kind of have that fear factor when they're creating a podcast or any kind of like network in Jacksonville, because you don't really know. You're like, everyone's kind of, like that underdog mentality, whatever you want to say about Jacksonville. But no, dude, I'm so blessed to have a podcast in this community, just because of a lot of the guests we've had on are just, Man, they got that dog in them.
Yeah, man,
they got that
to.
dog in them, man. Standing on business, as the
Yes,
old plug would say.
Got to.
No, but all the OGs that are listening to this episode, shout out to each and every one of you guys. If you're listening to this episode on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Let us know your favorite part about this episode. If you're looking for more bonus content,
Talk to him.
you already know where the fuck to go, man.
Where
We'll
they
kind of
going?
remind you, OG Sessions Patreon. That's patreon.com/OG Sessions. Choose a membership that's right for you and enjoy those secret sessions, baby. Little sidebar for all the people that are listening. You don't have to be a certified OG to watch secret sessions. I've heard there's some misconceptions out
We
there.
just get a little bit of support.
That's what I'm
and
saying.
You get everything.
If
you get it all.
If you want to be a certified OG, man, you can be, hit that membership and that tier and become a certified OG. But if you're just on there supporting the podcast, just know you're going to still enjoy all those same benefits, man. 2-day early access to episodes, ad-free listening, the whole nine, man.
Secret sessions,
obviously. Man, shout out to everybody that's a Patreon member on there. You guys are the shit. If you're listening to this episode on audio-only platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, Google, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, wherever the fuck you listen to this podcast, give us that 5-star rating. Man, I love that 5-star rating. Boy, I'll tell you right now, I love that motherfucking 5-star rating. And then, yeah, man, pretty much if you guys, social medias. This is one thing we have not said in a while.
Social media.
If you're not following us on Instagram, X. Shout out to my brother
for
Twitter. I'll tell you right now, my dog is running that X page good right now.
Some followers going up.
Followers going up. I remember I didn't really. I mean, I'm kind of like running TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram, things like that. I was literally Twitter, X, whatever was all in the back burner for me. So I was like, Joey, please just let me give you the keys to this and run this shit. You almost doubled our followers on there, brother. I'm just going to say, shout out to my boy. He's been putting in work over there. So if you guys are active on X, make sure you follow OG Sessions Pod, OG Sessions Pod on Instagram, OG Sessions on TikTok. Big things in the way, man.
Yes,
I'll tell you right now, me and Joey have been cooking up something special for you guys for season 3. Obviously, we've been kind of teasing it a little bit these past couple weeks, but when this episode comes out, I'm pretty sure it'll be
live,
yeah? So, everyone get excited. This is a big one. But no, once again, Malcolm, shout out to you for coming on the podcast, brother. Appreciate you, man.
I appreciate it again. Can I add one more thing? I totally forgot to add.
Of course, bro.
September 21st, man, if you're in Jacksonville, I'm throwing Jack's Photo Fest, first annual Jack's Photo Fest. It's an outdoor photography festival. I'm working in conjunction with Placemaking Jacks. It'll be in Live Every Voice and Scene Park in the Villa downtown area. And, come on out, man, from 4 to 9. We got amazing photographers, over 100 photographs. And basically it's an outdoor, big photographs blown up. It's going to be something else that the city's never really seen before.
Should we pull up?
Definitely, please.
That's dope.
Please.
Bro, okay, we definitely have to go to that. You said September 21st?
Yeah, September 21st. So it's the week of the Monday Night Football game. So you good?
We'll be all right.
We all right.
Hey, you played that accordingly. I like that. I like that. That's how you know he got that. He bleeds teal and black, man. I like that.
Yeah, we was real strategic. Like, man,
not on game day.
But yeah, it's gonna be really, really nice. And again, like, I've always been down about helping others. Like, that's what really gets me going. It's not about getting on and then helping others. Like, you can help others as long as you have the resources for it. And for me, this is my way of not just giving back, but giving everybody else another chance to collaborate, network, and see themselves in light that they haven't seen before. So we did a submission, and we got like over 20, I think 23, 24 photographers from all over town who've done extraordinary work, done work all over the world that are from here, based here.
Wow.
And been able to put them on in this capacity, is a highlight for me. So I can't wait. So it's September 21st, man.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I remember you mentioned that when you first walked in, man. I was like, this is actually a really dope thing I think Jacksonville needs too, bro. Yeah. So many big photographers in this city, but I feel like sometimes they don't really get the recognition that they deserve, you know? Yeah. So yeah, shout out to you for putting that on, man. September 21st will definitely be there. And then where can all the OGs follow you, man?
Oh yeah, so I'm on Mount Jax on Instagram, MALCJAX, Twitter X. Also, but I just be talking about Jaguars and roller coasters over there.
That's fine.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
That, and then, my website for anything or commissions or whatever, mountjax.com. I got a lot of my work up there.
Love it.
So, check it out, man.
It's only fitting that your last name is Jackson.
Yeah, ironic.
Yeah. He is the mayor.
He literally is, bro. I love it, man. Once again, dude, shout out to you for coming on the show, bro. It's an absolute honor for real. And yeah, can't wait to run this one up, boys.
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll see y'all next week. Shout out to all the OGs. We are out.
Peace.